First off, I'm going to explain what marginal product is. Marginal product is the change in output by adding one more unit of a variable input into production. If the input is labor, we call it marginal product of labor, or MPL. We calculate marginal product using the formula change in output divided by change in input. Inputs can be separated into two categories, fixed and variable inputs. Fixed inputs are inputs that cannot be easily changed in the short run. Inputs such as heavy equipment and machinery and property expenses like rent are considered fixed. On the other hand, variable inputs are inputs that can be easily changed in the short run. Examples of variable inputs are labor and workers, raw materials, and energy sources. Marginal production adheres to the law of diminishing marginal product, which states, as more units of a single input are added to production, the additional output or benefit gained from each additional unit will eventually decrease, as long as at least one input remains fixed. Donut Party is a local Edmonton company that sells donuts. When each store has 8 workers working at a time, 816 donuts, or 68 dozen donuts, will be baked from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on a Sunday. This graph shows how many donuts each worker, from 1 through 8 workers, gets made every Sunday. With one worker, 144 donuts, or 12 dozen donuts gets made, whereas with 2 workers, 276, or 23 dozen donuts get made. The marginal product produced by the second worker is 132 donuts. However, the marginal product of the 8th worker, as seen on the graph, is 60 donuts. The MPL, marginal product of labor, decreases drastically through the 1st to 8th worker, and this is because limited resources and less space decreases the ability of more workers to produce the same amount of donuts as if only one worker is working, as said by the law of diminishing marginal productivity. Businesses, such as Donut Party, are able to analyze their marginal product and make adjustments when necessary to produce and sell efficiently in a market. If an input is costing a lot of money to use, but only producing a small amount of output, a business can remove said input to maximize efficiency. Closely analyzing and adjusting marginal product helps a business determine the most efficient amount of output to produce and sell. To summarize, diminishing marginal product is a change in output when an additional variable input is added to production. Businesses can analyze the relation between their inputs and outputs and determine the most cost-efficient proportion of inputs in production. Diminishing marginal product is a fundamental principle in economics that cannot be avoided. As production increases and inputs increase as well, marginal product is bound to diminish.